Hello everyone, and welcome to the beginning of the end of Phoenix Wright Trilogy. This series has over 100 videos, and my Steam stats say that I've put 124 hours into this game. But at long last, we're here. We're at the final portion in the final trial of the final case in the final game of the trilogy. Oh, my goodness. I can't believe this is coming to an end. This game has become a big part of my life for the last year. Didn't think this series would last so long, as I said previously, but again, I have cherished every moment with it because, man, I have just fallen in love with it, and I will be sad to see it go, but enough prattling on about that stuff you've heard before. We're here with the second day of court, and we have quite a bit of information to go on. We know that Iris, our defendant, is the twin sister of Dahlia Hawthorne. I think. At least that's what we're told. Keep an open mind, I guess. And it seems very likely that Pearl Fey may or may not have channeled Dahlia Hawthorne to enact vengeance upon Elise Dunim. However, at the same time, I do have a theory that Elise Dunim, aka Misty Fey, may have gotten ahead of the curve and maybe channeled Dahlia herself? I don't know. I feel like we know that Pearl showed Elise the note, the letter at the dinner, because Pearl was like, "Hey, how do you read this?" And she was like, "That says gravely," and gravely was like the key word of the letter that was sent to Pearl, the instructions. But that begs the question of who fell in the river. Because if Pearl, channeling Dahlia Hawthorne, fell into the river, how did Pearl survive and not even remember it? Well, of course she wouldn't remember because she would have been channeling Dahlia, but who fell in the river? I gotta know. Well, there's only one way to learn. Court is now in session for the trial of Iris of Hazakura Temple. Your Honor? What are you... Who, me? Well, my little brother came to visit me in my chambers earlier this morning. All of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, he developed a scorching fever and fainted. What? The judge has a brother? Are you telling me that after 3 whole games, we're actually learning something about this guy? Therefore, I'll be standing in for him. Oh, the Canadian judge! Yeah, the Canadian judge was the judge for the first trial, right? The first day of trial? I think so. Yeah, the whole thing with Edgeworth relying on the judge to not recognize him. Okay. Oh my gosh. So does this mean this judge is Canadian too? He does a really good job of hiding it. I see, Your Honor. So they're brothers. That explains a lot. My poor brother. He looked a bit pale, not to mention sad that he couldn't be here. Different prosecutor, different defense attorney, different judge. It's like a whole new case. It is impossible to predict what the future has in store for any of us. This is precisely why people feel the need to judge the past. And we of the court have been charged with the solemn duty of passing such judgment. I feel like Godot is saying something with a double meaning, considering how he feels about Phoenix. Well said, Mr. Godot. I understood exactly what you said. At least up until the end, anyway. Now then, Mr. Godot, please proceed with your opening statement.
Humans are fragile, fickle beings. Our hearts change with the shifting of the tides. There is only one thing that remains a constant in this crazy world.
Is it coffee?
The bitter darkness that lies at the bottom of this mug.
It's coffee. So then you mean, forget it. What do you mean?
During yesterday's trial, the accused refused to admit her role in the crime. But today, she has had a change of heart. Sister Iris of Hazakura Temple has a confession to make.
Confession? The defendant?
Iris, why didn't she discuss this with me first?
Very well. This court will now hear the defendant's confession.
Bring it on. Upon meeting a beautiful lady, always ask her for name and profession. That's one of my rules.
My name is Iris. I am but a simple nun undergoing training at Hazakura Temple.
Witness, is there something that you want to confess to?
Yes, but first, I want to apologize to Mr. Wright. I can't continue lying to everyone anymore.
It's all right. What is it?
Mr. Wright, I have to admit that I did play a part in this terrible incident.
Are you actually confessing? Are you saying that you were the one who murdered Miss Elise Dunim? If she wanted to say that, she would say it. She's just saying that she's an accomplice.
No, I'm not, Your Honor. I dealt with the cover-up after the murder took place.
I'd imagine if someone approached you wearing your dead sister's face, you'd go along with it.
After her spirit left, I took the lifeless shell of Mystic Elise.
Huh.
And carried it to the Hazakura Temple courtyard where I desecrated it.
What? Oh, order in the court. Order. Witness, are you saying you were an accomplice to the murder?
Yes, that's correct.
What? 3 minutes in court and I'm already covered in a cold sweat.
Ha! Everyone on the planet is an accomplice to something. Just happens to be that in this case, it's to murder. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright? Oh, not Godot. So this is the confession they were conferring about. It pains me to say this, but it looks like Iris's testimony was all a lie.
Iris's testimony crumbled up and shoved into a pocket. But not discarded.
Now then, little lady, if you don't mind, I've got a question for you. Whose crime were you trying to cover up by your actions?
Iris was covering for someone. I'm definitely up the creek without a paddle. Or a life jacket.
I've been at Hazakura Temple ever since I was a little girl. Hazakura Temple is run by one of the branch families of the Korean tradition. One of our missions is to protect the main family.
I'm sorry, but main family?
Yes, and that's why I would dirty myself, if need be, to protect her. daughter of the master of the Crane channeling technique, Mystic Maya Fey.
Huh? What?
Wake up and smell the coffee, Trite.
She's naming Maya? What? Okay. Looks like we're gonna have to defend Maya Fey again. God damn it. Order. Order in the court. So not only did you witness the murder, you know the name of the murderer.
I'm terribly sorry, but it's true. I saw her commit the crime with my very own eyes. And then I cleaned the area to try to protect her.
Objection! That's ridiculous. I could never... The defense will refrain from commenting until the appropriate time. Now, witness, let's hear your testimony. What exactly happened on the night of the crime?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thought I was prepared for the unexpected. But I never imagined the case would wind up going in this direction. The worst part is we established that there were moments where Iris was alone with Maya. Plenty of opportunity to have some sort of conspiratorial conversation. Then again, we do have the note. The note? Actually, hold on. Wait a second. Wait just a second. Oh no, did I make an assumption? Roast the master. Whoever wrote this note wanted the master to die. I think because Misty Fey died, I may have assumed that the writer of the letter was talking about Misty. What if the writer of this letter did not know Misty Fey was on that mountain? What if they were fooled by the disguise? By the way, it's Morgan. It's Morgan, by the way, who wrote this. There's no possible way Morgan could have known that Misty was on the mountain. Morgan's letter here, when it talks about killing the master, it's talking about Maya. Because Maya already assumed the role of master of the school. It's talking about Maya. Oh my god. Oh boy. Okay. Oh no.
I went to the inner temple that night and I saw it all happen in the garden. I saw Mystic Elise strike Mystic Maya with her staff. While Mystic Maya was still stumbling, Mystic Elise moved in to deliver a fatal strike. Mystic Maya tried desperately to defend herself and stole the weapon. It was only in self-defense. You can't blame her for it.
So it was in self-defense.
Yes. Mystic Elise was the one who attacked first. That's why I tried my best to protect Mystic Maya.
You moved the victim's body to the temple so that Maya wouldn't be suspected. Isn't that right? Not bad. You've got the instincts of a true criminal.
Something's not quite right. I'm sure it was established yesterday that Iris never went to the inner temple that night. The person who did go was that woman. Iris even admitted it. All right. Now, I'm playing this case over the period of like a month and a half, so forgive me if I mess up details. Now then, Mr. Wright, please proceed with your cross-examination.
The real murderer.
Well, it sounds like we can get Iris to talk about the blade cane. In fact, if we press her on what the lethal strike was, maybe she could say it wasn't the blade and the cane. Anyway.
I went to the inner temple that night and I saw it all happen in the garden.
Well, first off, do we have any evidence that... I mean, we crumpled up her testimony. I guess that's why we crumpled up the testimony. Because, her testimony said that she stayed in her room, and we'd be able to contradict it right here. That would be too easy. Oh, we have a photo of the courtyard. Let's check this real quick. Oh, the main hall courtyard. Right. Yeah, if we could get Iris to say that the strike with the staff made the sphere fall off, then we could say, hey, no, why would it be found over on the other side of the bridge? Alright, let's just press. Sister Iris, your testimony has changed quite a bit since yesterday. You stated yesterday that, on the night of the murder, you didn't go to the inner temple.
Objection!
Did she now? Too bad for you. What she said yesterday doesn't mean much today. By the way, where were you when she claimed that she didn't go?
It was in the inner temple's training hall.
A private conversation between the two of you does not constitute testimony. That would be properly described as hearsay.
What do you have to say, witness?
I just couldn't tell him the truth at that time. Mystic Maya, she's your girlfriend, isn't she? I didn't want to be the one to break it to you that I saw her commit murder.
There. We all understand how difficult this is for you. Now then, let's continue with the testimony. What did you witness in the temple garden?
Well, Your Honor, I saw Mystic Elise strike Mystic Maya with her staff.
You're saying that the victim attacked Miss Faye?
Yes, it was a truly frightening scene. Mystic Maya was struck hard on the head and looked like she was going to collapse.
But is there any mark on the staff? Well, the description here doesn't say it's, I had the word in my head. It's condition. Yeah, it doesn't mention its condition. Okay. What were you doing at the time? Why didn't you stop them from fighting?
I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Wright. I was frightened. I couldn't move. I couldn't even speak. I was in such shock.
That's perfectly understandable, my dear.
This doesn't sound right. I don't believe this testimony for a minute.
What happened after that?
While Mystic Maya was still stumbling, Mystic Elise moved in to deliver a fatal strike.
Oh, wait. The blood on the sphere has blood on it. Oh, we didn't get a blood sample on this, did we? If it was Elise's blood, then we can say, how in the heck did Elise's blood get on it then if she was the attacker? Anyway.
Mystic Maya was still stumbling, Mystic Elise moved in to deliver a fatal strike.
She moved in to deliver a fatal strike.
Yes, I'm sure of it. She threw down her staff and reached into her robe for a weapon.
Hey, we got her.
Wait a minute. What was this weapon?
It was some kind of dagger.
A dagger, huh? And Elise Dunham tried to stab her with this weapon? To kill Miss Fay?
Yes, exactly.
You look like I did after I mistakenly took a swig of Worcestershire.
I can't pronounce that word normally, and you want me to do it in a voice? No. Worcestershire sauce, yeah. Also, who fills a mug with Worcestershire sauce? Who does that?
Do you have a problem with the testimony we're hearing from your client, lawyer boy? Do I have a problem with Iris's testimony?
Yeah, there is one thing.
Your Honor, I have a small problem with the witness's testimony.
You do? But this witness is your own client.
Yes. Well, nevertheless, that's fine. Witness, let's add your last statement to the testimony.
Yes, sir.
Hey, just a moment. It's my job to say that.
Listen, Gramps, I won't say it again. Final judgment will be rendered by me.
Ooh. Scary.
Okay, now, let's continue.
She threw her staff away and pulled a dagger from inside her robe.
Why would she do that? Why would she do that? I don't think we even need to do anything else. Has a sword hidden inside. Why would she discard a much more effective weapon?
Sister Iris, there's something strange about your version of events.
Huh?
Miss Dunham throwing away her staff away makes no sense at all to me.
But all you can do with the staff is hit someone.
Naturally, you wouldn't know this, Sister Iris, but the victim's staff had a special feature about it. As you can see, it's a sword.
Ah.
If Elise Dunham really had wanted to kill Maya Fay, she wouldn't have needed to use a separate dagger. Not when she already had a beautiful blade in her hands already. Well, Sister Iris, what do you have to say? That was an impressive bit of investigating, Trite. I never would have thought there was a sword hidden in that staff. But even so, how should I put this? A long sword is unwieldy, and thus quite ineffective in close quarters combat. Maybe that's why she chose a dagger over her blade. Well... Anyway, the type of weapon she chose to use isn't what's important. The important thing is that she tried to kill Maya Fay. As long as there's nothing strange about that, there's no problem with her testimony. But there is something strange about this whole testimony.
Well, Mr. Wright, the prosecution has a point.
Very well, Your Honor. The defense will now present evidence to back its argument.
Mr. Wright?
I have here another piece of evidence that shows that this testimony can't be trusted.
because Miss Elise Dunham would never attempt to take the life of Maya Fey. She's really Misty Fey. Do we show the profile? Oh, do we show the Korean Master's Talisman? Oh, do we show this? This is hard evidence that Elise was a member of the Korean school, and so just like Iris, she would want to also protect the Master. Then again, it's pretty well established that pretty much everyone else in the Fey family is wanting to kill the Master, so... Do we go for the profile? Do we show that her real name is Misty? But this profile is just a profile, it's not hard evidence. Let's give this a once-over real quick here. Photos aren't worth anything. Yeah, no, I think it's either the profile or the talisman here. I'm gonna go with the profile first. Showing that she's Maya's mother is a stronger point to make than saying that she's a member of the Korean school. Elise Dunham would never have attacked Maya Fey.
How can you be so sure?
Because the victim's real name was not Elise Dunham. Her real name was Misty Fey. Fey?
No. Not Mystic Misty Fey.
But who is this Misty Fey? Is she related to... Misty Fey is the master of the crane channeling technique. She is also the mother of Maya Fey. Are you serious?
Is it really true, Mr. Wright? Was Elise Dunham actually the great mystic Misty?
There's no doubt about it. Looks like Iris had no idea.
I can hardly believe it.
The idea that she would try to kill her only daughter, one she hadn't seen in 17 years. Perhaps the prosecution can offer some explanation for why she would do such a thing. Order in the court. Upon first hearing the witness's testimony, it seemed natural enough. However, in light of some facts that have just been presented, one, that the victim supposedly threw away a sword during a fight, and two, that the two people battling to the death were mother and daughter, despite the facts being believable when taken on their own. When taken together, the entire story seems difficult to believe.
Listen, there's nothing in this world that is impossible. Except for one little thing.
Yes? What is this one little impossible thing?
You still don't get it. You think maybe my beans are under-roasted, but you have no idea, Gramps.
Could you get to your point?
I heard this witness's confession this morning, just as I had taken the first sip of my 8th cup of morning coffee.
How is it? How? Why? You're going to ruin your health, my friend. Yeah. Please stop.
Anyway, after hearing this...
I'm sorry. It's so funny. Oh. Okay.
Anyway, after hearing this woman's confession, I had a detective who loves to investigate sent to the scene of the crime. And he discovered this little beauty.
What? Is that the dagger the witness testified to seeing?
Obviously, Your Honor. But do you not notice something else?
Now that you mention it, if you look closely, there appears to be blood on it. No, Godot's gonna say something else. He can't see red.
Well, where did you find that? I didn't see that when I investigated the crime scene. Did you investigate the pine tree at the crime scene?
Huh? The pine tree?
This dagger was stuck in the backside of the pine tree.
How did it get there?
When the last blow was struck, ending the violent battle between the two women, this little baby was thrown in the direction of the back of the pine tree. What?
Which means the blood on this dagger belongs to the victim, correct?
Huh? Were you even listening, old man? I first heard this confession this morning, just as I had taken the first sip of my 13th cup of morning coffee.
Did you say it was your 8th just a few minutes ago?
I didn't have enough time to get the blood analyzed on such short notice.
In any case, the court will accept the dagger as evidence. Furthermore, I order that a blood test be performed on it immediately.
This is my sweetheart. Make sure you treat her right.
Bailiff, get this piece of evidence to the crime lab for testing immediately. Huh. Now then, the testimony we've just heard had numerous unbelievable aspects to it. However, after having found the very dagger the witness spoke of, I believe we can consider her testimony to be credible.
But how did Godot see the blood? Cute girls never lie. Ever.
Let's see, okay, April May, D. Vasquez, Samus Aran, oh shoot, who was that? Who was that, whatever. The joke's lost, I failed. In any case, witness, if you could please testify again to this court.
About what, Your Honor?
About the incident you saw, the battle between the two women.
Yes, Your Honor.
The battle.
Mystic Maya stumbled briefly after being hit over the head with the staff. But then she dodged Mystic Elise's next attack and stole her weapon. Suddenly, Mystic Elise was the one on the defensive, with her back to the stone lantern.
Also, gosh, no wonder Maya's so cold. She's practically wearing shorts.
That's when Mystic Maya stabbed Mystic Elise.
If that were the case, there would be like infinitely more blood. And it also doesn't answer how the name was written upside down.
Mystic Elise managed to fling the knife away, but then she collapsed.
That was a very heartbreaking story.
I don't know if there were any bad feelings between them, but it had been 17 years since Mystic Misty's disappearance. Perhaps they simply didn't recognize each other anymore.
That seems reasonable. Now then, Mr. Wright, proceed with your cross-examination. I think we're definitely going to want to press here. So, wait. Where's the written... The blood. The writing in the blood. Hold on. Also, none of this explains how her body could have fallen 10 feet after death. Do we not have the Maya name writing as evidence? Do we just not have that? Okay. Iris, where were you standing when you witnessed all of this?
What do you mean?
Well, if either of them had noticed you, they might not have continued their battle.
I wonder if that's true. The two of them, they were standing near the garden's stone lantern. I was watching the whole thing from behind. It was dark where the two of them were, so... I think that's why they didn't see me.
You know, there is a possibility then that Iris just assumed that it was Maya on the offensive. It could have been... Oh my god, the robes are short. The robes are short. What if Maya really does wear ankle height robes, and the reason it looks so short up to her knees is because it was Pearl. Pearl wearing little kid 8-year-old, 9-year-old robes, and she channeled Dahlia, who had the body of an adult. Oh, that is a possibility. So it was dark in the garden when the murder took place. And if it was dark, that means the braziers, the lanterns, they weren't lit. So how do you explain the perfectly square melted snow around the lantern? So many details. Oh no. Tell me, what did Miss Maya Fey do after she was struck?
But then she dodged Mystic Elise's next attack and stole her weapon.
What happened to the victim's staff then?
I'm not sure. The area was very dark, so I really couldn't see. I think it got knocked away somewhere as the fight escalated.
That makes sense. That would explain the need for the dagger.
Mystic Elise raised the dagger to strike, but Mystic Maya dodged it at the last second. The dagger struck the lantern and fell to the ground.
Aren't you saying that Misty's back was to the lantern at that time? Who could just swing at the victim, strike the lantern behind them, when it wasn't there?
And then at some point, Mystic Maya picked it up.
Nothing sounds especially strange yet. What did the victim do when the weapon was stolen from her?
Suddenly, Mystic Elise was the one on the defensive, with her back to the stone lantern.
Okay, then her back was to the stone lantern. Okay.
You're saying that Maya Fey turned the tables on the victim?
Yes. But Mystic Maya wasn't herself at the time.
You don't say!
After all, her life was in danger.
I still can't believe it.
You know, I am going all in on this, like, knee-height robe discrepancy that may or may not even be a thing, but that hair is distinctly Maya's and not Pearl's or even Dahlia's or what have you. So, maybe I can't take this image at face value.
I still can't believe it. The idea of Maya cornering someone at knife point is just silly. As they say, a cornered fox is more dangerous than a jackal.
Do they say that?
I believe the correct description of a cornered fox is scared and petrified. Your animal analogies have grown tiresome.
You were the one who started it. Anyway, so after Maya Fey backed the victim into the stone lantern, what happened next?
That's when Mystic Maya stabbed Mystic Elise.
Are you absolutely certain that's what you saw?
Yes, I'm almost certain.
Almost ain't good enough, Missy.
Almost.
The garden was dark. I couldn't really tell who was who.
What did you just say? So in other words, it could have been someone else entirely.
Here's where Godot will chime in and say, "Hey, dumbass, the inner temple's a freaking island, you dunce."
Objection!
Yeah, here we go.
We know that Maya Fey was at the inner temple that night, and that the woman that was killed was Elise Dunim. Isn't it fairly obvious who attacked who? I don't have anything to counter that yet.
Well then, witness, please continue with your testimony.
Yes, Your Honor. The two of them faced each other for a moment. Then Mystic Maya rushed straight into Mystic Elise. Then Mystic Elise doubled over and fell to the ground.
If she immediately fell to the ground, how could she have had time to write Maya's name on the lantern? Actually, come to think of it, maybe the reason we haven't got that as evidence yet is because Godot's waiting to spring it on us. So she was stabbed in the stomach, huh?
Yes. Mystic Elise managed to fling the knife away, but then she collapsed.
Does the autopsy report specifically say that she was stabbed from the front or back? Got it! Oh, I got it!
I got it! Ooh!
That's when Mystic Maya stabbed Mystic Elise. The autopsy shows it was a stab from the back. Oh boy. Yeah, no, I think we're good to go to just show the evidence here. Loss of blood from a stab in the back. Something about you just isn't right today, Iris.
Huh?
Until now, I didn't think you were the type to make such a careless mistake. However, the testimony you just gave contains quite a few contradictions.
What do you mean? What's so wrong about my testimony?
According to you, Maya Fey stabbed the victim while she had her back to the stone lantern, correct?
Yes, that's right.
But in that case, the victim would have been stabbed in the stomach, right? Yes, I think so. But, according to the autopsy report, the cause of death was due to blood loss from a stab wound in her back.
Oh.
This proves that the victim was stabbed from behind, not from the front. Sister Iris, it appears another seed of doubt has sprouted from your testimony. What? What is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright?
It's simple. People are like books. We've all got a front and a back. You get my drift?
Is that all you have to say? Also, I'm pretty sure, literally everything has a front and a back.
I can also say that the darkness loves to play with the human mind.
Could you please knock it off with the cheesy proverbs and illogical metaphors already? The point is, too much of this testimony just doesn't make sense. Throwing away a useful staff, the people fighting being mother and daughter, and now she falsely claims the victim was stabbed in the stomach. There certainly are some inconsistencies. Well, Iris, how about it?
Well, it's just...
If you ask me, you're just being too naive about the whole thing.
Well, what do you mean?
There are 253 distinct types of bitterness in coffee.
You made that up.
But to pick out each one requires total concentration and the use of all the senses. Were you really concentrating on what this witness actually said?
Prosecutor Godot, explain yourself.
The witness was quite unambiguous about her own ambiguities when she said that the garden was dark and she couldn't see clearly. A human needs one thing to see clearly, and that is light.
Light?
By the way, did you know? Hazakura Temple has a rule that on nights when an acolyte is at the inner temple training, the stone lantern in the garden must be kept lit.
Oh. I did wonder what the stone lantern was there for. Well, if that's true, shouldn't the witness have been able to see the crime more clearly?
Normally, yes, Your Honor. But according to the head nun, Sister Bikini, on the night of the crime, it was impossible to light that stone lantern.
Impossible?
It hadn't been used in a long time, and the wick was no good. In other words, it had to have been nearly pitch black in the garden that night. There could have been a faint light coming from the training hall, but that's all.
Most enlightening.
Yes, that illuminating fact has chased all the contradictions away. If the staff was dropped, it would be difficult to see. It also explains why they didn't recognize each other. We can't see the demons that lurk in the night. That's why humans are weak. Isn't that right, Trite?
No! Order! Order! Order!
Here, Your Honor. Let me present the stone lantern into evidence. Maybe it will rekindle the flame of truth in your mind.
The lantern for the inner temple garden was not lit the night of the crime. Does this piece of evidence include
the ground around it?
I mean, I'm sure it includes the writing. Why is the judge just sitting there with that look on his face?
What's wrong, Your Honor? Was that flame too hot?
This lantern. There's something written on it. Okay, yeah, okay, Godot didn't see this blood. But how the hell did he see the blood on the knife? Clearly there's a secondary detail about the knife that we don't know yet. Then again, I guess like the globby, liquidy blood would stand out, even if you couldn't really see it. See the color, I mean.
Oh, why, it's written in blood.
Oh boy. So the judge didn't know about that yet.
Written in blood?
It says Maya upside down.
What the?
Oh yes, that's right. After being cornered and then stabbed by Mystic Maya, Mystic Elise didn't fall down right away. She must have been writing that on the stone lantern behind her. The blood that was draining out of her body.
It certainly looks that way.
Objection!
Hang on, just a minute. What are you all talking about?
What do you mean, what are we all talking about? We're talking about the message written in blood.
Nonsense. This lantern, it's as clean as a whistle.
Could it be? You can't see the bloody writing at all? Now that I think of it, he did say something to me yesterday.
My eyesight is pretty messed up. Even with these huge goggles on my head, I still can't see everything.
Poor guy thinks he's wearing a red shirt. So that's what he meant by that. In any case, this is obviously an important clue. We now know that the crime scene was dark, and that the victim scrawled this message on the stone lantern. Well, Mr. Godot, anything further? Mr. Godot?
Okay then, let's move on.
Godot is literally shaking, and somehow I don't think it's from caffeine overdose. I believe it has now been established that Miss Dunham was killed by Maya Fey.
That's just wrong.
Now it's time to turn our attention to you.
Yes, sir.
After the victim died, you did something, didn't you? Let's hear it. We're all ears.
Okay. That's just a stain. Godot couldn't see this. What is the other thing about this dagger that he's talking about? That it's missing its sheath? Is there some sort of compartment in the hilt? I don't know.
After Mystic Elise died, I called out to Mystic Maya. I thought it was my duty to protect the future master of the Crane tradition. So I removed the body from the inner temple by myself. I dragged it behind me all the way across Dusky Bridge. And I used the Snowmobile to carry it back to Hazakura Temple, and I used the Shishido to alter the way the wound looked.
So you moved the body.
Yes, I was raised at Hazakura Temple. I owed a great deal of thanks to the Fey clan. But even so, I never imagined that Elise Dunham was actually Misty Fey. I've committed a terrible sin.
A terrible trick of fate. I believe you're looking for Twist of Fate, Your Honor.
I intended to return to the inner temple after taking care of the body, but
You were spotted by the head nun, correct?
yes, and that's why I couldn't go back.
Your story makes sense, I suppose. Mr. Wright, go ahead with your cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor.
Nothing jumped out at me immediately, but I will admit that I am foggy on the precise details of who moved where, when, and the snowmobile stuff. I forget the timeline on that.
After Mystic Elise died, I called out to Mystic Maya.
So you waited until everything was over before making a move.
No, it's not like that.
She saw someone murdered right in front of her eyes. It's not surprising that she was a little timid.
Yes, I suppose that's true. Sometimes when I'm watching lawyers argue back and forth with each other, I feel so helpless that I just sit quietly and wait for them to reach a conclusion. Isn't it your job as the judge to mediate the argument? Oh, that's not the judge.
It wasn't until Mystic Maya saw me that it finally dawned on her what she had done. I thought it was my duty to protect the future master of the Korean tradition.
So then, you knew. You knew that's the significance of the name Maya Fey.
Yes, of course I did.
That's odd. I mean, Sister Bikini didn't recognize Maya's name, let alone her position.
Anyway, she was a very special person indeed.
Yeah. How did you know? Is there any evidence we have that would prove that she wouldn't know? Let's see. I'm not sure. Oh. Oh. This was found, like, in the snow on a bush. Maybe it is excusable that Iris didn't see this, but this talisman signifies that Misty was the master. It may be very valid to show this item on this sentence. If I don't get any other ideas, I'll come back to this.
So I removed the body from the inner temple by myself.
Why did you do that?
Because I didn't want Mystic Maya to be suspected in any way. I thought the best thing would be to remove the body from the crime scene.
You moved her body all by yourself.
Yes, I did. It would have been impossible if it wasn't for the snow.
The snow, huh?
I I dragged it behind me all the way across Dusky Bridge.
It's pretty amazing you can make it all the way across. That's a rickety old bridge.
It looks worse than it is. It's surprisingly sturdy despite its age.
It's like they say, idiots are too stupid to catch even a simple cold.
But there's one other thing that bothers me. Why not just throw the body into the Eagle River? It would have been much easier than dragging it all the way to Hazakura Temple.
I thought that it would still cast too much suspicion on Mystic Maya. That's why I tried to take the body as far away as possible.
Ha! Makes perfect sense to me. For the time being. Anyway, what do you do after you cross the bridge?
Then I used the Snowmobile to carry it back to Hazakura Temple and...
The Snowmobile? I knew that would show up sooner or later.
Yes, I had the key. I used the Snowmobile to travel from Hazakura Temple to Dusky Bridge.
This is the part that was in question the other day. Should I ask for more details? About the tracks. If you really did move her body by snowmobile, then there should be tracks left in the snow, right? Well, yes, naturally you would expect tracks. This picture was presented at yesterday's trial. Are these the tracks from that ride?
Yes, I think they are.
But I can only see one set of tracks here.
I don't see what's so strange about that. Snow was still falling when I left Hazakura Temple.
I see. Snow was still falling, huh?
And then when the murder took place, it had already stopped. That's why there are such fresh-looking tracks.
How about it, Mr. Wright? What do you think about this testimony? Dang it, I forget everything. I forget literally everything about the tracks and the snowmobile. It seems to be okay, other than the fact that, like, hold on. Like, hey, shouldn't there be, like, blood or the sign of a body being dragged through the snow? Okay, if I say it's very important, two things will happen. Either one, I'll have to show some evidence right away to prove my point, or two, the testimony will be added onto. I'm gonna go it's not important for right now. Nothing I've heard sounds strange at all. Better not get too worked up about it. I'm fine, Your Honor. I have no problems with her testimony. Very well then, let's continue with the testimony. Okay, let's do the other option. Yeah, ask about the snowmobile. Let me hear more about the snowmobile ride.
Well, it was very cold that night, so I rode it all the way to the foot of the bridge.
Objection! I'm sorry, witness. But now, I've got a problem with your testimony.
Wow, thanks, Godot.
Excuse me?
Godot, What are you up to now? That night, after the head nun left the remainder of the training to you, she said she walked from Inner Temple back to Hazakura Temple.
Yes, I'm fairly certain that's what the record indicates.
Let's recall her comments on the subject.
Maybe, but when I made it back to Hazakura Temple, it was there, by the main gate. The snowmobile, I mean.
Meaning it couldn't have been at the bridge for Iris to ride.
The snowmobile was in front of the main gate. This is one of those contradictions, wouldn't you say?
Order! Mr. Godot. Why are you pointing out contradictions in the witness's testimony?
Let's just say I like things to be neat and tidy, okay?
Well, maybe Sister Bikini missed it. Yes, maybe she didn't see it.
You think she missed it? That doesn't sound right.
Whatever. Even I don't think this is decisive enough to warrant any more time or effort. It's just... you better be careful in your testimony. That's all I wanted to say. A smart little cookie like you shouldn't have any trouble understanding that.
Yes, sir.
What was that all about? Why would Godot want to give me a hint? Very well then, let's continue with the testimony. So you transported the body by snowmobile all the way to Hazakura Temple courtyard.
Yes. I thought that way Mystic Maya would never be suspected. That's what I thought, anyway. And then I used the Shishido to alter the way the wound looked.
Is that what you were doing when Sister Bikini saw you?
Yes. That's right. She probably thought the worst.
Probably. More like definitely. I see. So Sister Bikini mistakenly thought you were the one that murdered Miss Doonan.
I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. It's my fault that this case has gotten so confusing.
I don't want to believe it, but I don't think my logic is failing me. Iris is trying to pin the murder on Maya. Why would she want to do that? There's only one reason I can think of.
My god, she wants the main branch to fall. She's aligned with Morgan Fay, whether she knows it or not. Okay. So I think we have two options here. Either we use the talisman evidence on this to show that, hey, no, Maya was not the master, why would you help Maya? Or we could ask more about the tracks and say that their statement about the tracks is very important. Assuming we did ask about the tracks, and assuming it didn't change the testimony, it would ask me for evidence. Is there any evidence that is related to the tracks in just the photo itself? I wonder if the tracks somehow line up with the lightning strike? we still don't have an answer for what the fall was. Yeah, the fall conflicts with this testimony in a lot. Oh. Oh. Oh, oh. According to Iris's testimony, the staff was flung away and went missing. She dragged the body and the body alone across a bridge. She piled the body onto the snowmobile and she rode to the main hall. If that is true, how did the orb from the staff get to the other side of Dusky Bridge? Oh. Okay. If we can get her to open up about the tracks, then. If we get her to open about the tracks, maybe we can get her to say something referencing how that would make the orb be a contradiction. Right. About the tracks. The orb was covered in snow. That proves it was still snowing on the way back. The tracks should have been covered up. Right? Oh. I think it's very important. I think we have something here. When the murder took place, the snow had already stopped? That doesn't make sense if you stack it up against the other evidence. Your Honor, I'd like the statement Iris just made added to the testimony. Yes. But does it have something to do with the case? All will be made clear if you allow her statement to be added to the record.
Ha! This should be fun. You, let's get the snow business cleared up, shall we?
Yes, sir. By the time the murder took place, the snow had already stopped.
Did it! Did it! Oh. This text doesn't say that it was found half buried in snow. Oh. Let's see. Oh, wait. Wait, no! The snow ended. The snow ended 5 minutes after lightning struck the bridge and it got on fire. It would have been impossible for her to cross. Oh my god! I barked up the wrong tree, but the squirrel fell out anyway. Oh baby! What? 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 Oh, right, No, what? Whoop, the snow stopped at 10:50, therefore the murder took place sometime after that, right, according to Iris's testimony. And yet, lightning struck 5 minutes before the snow stopped. The bridge was on fire at the time Iris tried to cross it. How was this not a contradiction? I'm sorry, what? Okay, maybe it is a contradiction, but it's just that this sentence doesn't say anything about crossing the bridge. I'm gonna go with the orb. You probably didn't hear it, but I just facepalmed. We're in great shape! There have been a lot of contradictions in your testimony so far. This time, are you sure it's all true?
Yes, I am.
When the murder happened, the snow had already stopped. According to you, that's why the snowmobile tracks were so clear.
That's right. I'm certain of it.
I think I've trapped her this time.
I see how you think. Snow, huh?
What is going on here? If the snow really had stopped by the time of the murder, it means there's a bigger hole in her story than that movie The Grid, Revelations. What? The Matrix Revelations? Is there a plot twist in The Matrix Revelations? I haven't seen that film in over a dozen years. But what plot twist? I don't know.
Well then, Mr. Wright, perhaps you'd like to share your theory with us. Let's see what's up your sleeve, or rather, at the end of your index finger.
I don't want to believe it. Oh, this is the end of... Yeah, okay. It's so obvious to these two, but it's not to me! Okay, I am officially stumped. I mean, I tried. I had two really freaking good guesses that I feel arbitrarily are not the correct choices. So at the end of the video, I got one little pip of health left. And I'm stumped, so forgive me for I'm about to sin, but here I go again checking the wiki. Oh no! Not a wiki, an FAQ. Yeah, FAQ. One moment. checked the FAQ and it said to present the weather data on this very sentence, but was that literally not what I just did? That was the first thing I did and it failed. I am confused. Am I blind and I presented the weather data on the wrong sentence? I don't know. But it's saying to present the weather data on this sentence. What? Okay, the FAQ I just referred to, which has worked for me in the past, is wrong, and now I have to replay this entire video! I am salty. Okay, I am back, and I hate myself right now. I misread the guide. I saw that you used the weather data, sure, and my eyes kind of just glazed over, I guess, because I thought you presented the weather data on this newly revealed statement. No, what you do is you get Iris to state in her testimony that the snow had stopped. And it's then that you go back. You go all the way back to this, her statement about dragging across the bridge. It's here that you point out the weather data and how the bridge had been on fire for 5 minutes. And you know what the worst part is? Earlier, for a split second, I considered this. I considered doing this very thing. I had the correct answer, but I discarded it in favor of my idiocy. I have no one to blame but myself. Anyway, enough melodrama. You claimed that the snow had already stopped when the murder occurred. But I'm sorry, Iris. That just isn't possible.
What?
This is the weather data from the night of the murder. According to this, the snow didn't stop until 10:50. But you couldn't have crossed Dusky Bridge at that time.
Why do you say that?
Because 5 minutes before the snow stopped, Dusky Bridge was struck by lightning and had caught on fire.
What did you say? The bridge? It was on fire?
Oh wow, I guess she didn't know, but then why would... She really didn't wonder why Gumshoe did repairs on the bridge? You don't mean to say you didn't know about it? It was because of that lightning strike that the bridge burned down.
What? But it can't be.
It looks like you still haven't figured it out. No matter how hard you try to deceive or conceal the truth, you can't pull the wool over the eyes of a real defense attorney.
No.
Order. The bridge was already on fire when the incident took place. That's right. The inner temple was already totally cut off from the outside world. There's no way you could have crossed the bridge, body or no body.
Huh?
Witness? Even my patience has its limits. Any further lying, and I will find you in contempt of court. Do you have anything to say for yourself?
The only person here that is truly contemptible is you. Old man.
Me? How dare you?
Whether this witness lied or not doesn't mean squat right now.
Squat?
The important thing now is to find out the truth. Isn't that right?
Yes, of course, but...
Whether it was snowing or not snowing, or whether the bridge was burning or not, there are two facts that can't be disputed. First, the body of Elise Dunham was discovered in the Hazakura Temple courtyard. And second, the head nun, Sister Bikini, witnessed Iris desecrating Elise Dunham's body. He makes a good point, on both accounts.
That's right. I'm not lying.
What are you claiming this time?
I wasn't myself at all that night.
What do you mean by that?
So my memory is still somewhat hazy.
You have stood at that witness stand and testified this entire time. Are you telling us now that your memory of that night is hazy?
Objection! It is only human to err. If you're so perfect, Wright, maybe you can explain this for the court?
What is it?
When the murder happened, the bridge had already burnt down. But somehow the body traveled across the bridge and was found in the temple courtyard. Perhaps you have some kind of perfect explanation for this little magic trick.
Well, not exactly, no. Well, there must be some other way she got across that burnt-out bridge. But unless I can somehow demonstrate it, we'll never know the truth. It looks like the defense is not prepared to offer a suitable explanation.
You see what I mean? In other words, you're in no position to suggest that this lady's testimony isn't the truth.
All right then. Witness, let's hear your testimony once more.
About what, Your Honor?
You've admitted that you moved the victim's body. Nevertheless, your prior testimony contained a rather large inconsistency. Please add an explanation for that to your testimony.
Yes, Your Honor.
Will this be her final testimony?
Moving the body. Okay, I think that's gonna do it for this video then. So, aside from the largest blunder ever, I think that went really well for us. And in fact, now we're back at this point here with full health. I'm feeling good. I was just, clicking. Everything was clicking into place. Until my brain didn't work too well. I didn't brain too good. And I messed up royally, and I paid the price for it. I can't believe I misread the FAQ when I went to look at it. Yeah. So, Iris's testimony, it's as Phoenix said. Iris must have a reason for trying to pin all of this on Maya Fey. And that's to take her down. But honestly, if what Iris said is true about living at the temple her whole life, why in the world would she be so invested in who the master of the school is? Unless like Morgan had been writing her freaking letters. I don't know. So, among all this talk of moving the body across the bridge while it should be burning, where in the world does this drawing fit into things? Who is this? Who fell from the middle of the bridge? I just don't know. I guess we'll have to find out next time, so... Well, I'm Zephyr the Jester. This has been Phoenix Wright, Trials and Tribulations. I thank you for watching, and hopefully I will catch you next time when we get even closer to the end of this entire Let's Play. Until then, please take care.